All right, Fox 17 News Johnny Maffei here with Johnny Avello of DraftKings. Johnny, first off, Happy New Year. Hope you're enjoying this football craziness, right?
Loving it, Johnny. It's a great weekend of college and pro football with every game meaningful. And this is when, things are really ramped up. So got one under the belt and a bunch to go.
So the college football in Tennessee this year was a lot more exciting than the NFL side of things. But right now, the hot topic, of course, is the Titans have a head coach vacancy, and they're interviewing a lot of guys, and you guys have some of those odds out.
We do. Nagy's the favorite. He's been our favorite from the beginning at 3-1. He has dropped to plus 140. I mean, he looks like a fit because they need somebody who can work with Cam Ward. And this guy has been a head coach before. He seems to know how to develop young players. So he seems like our favorite as of now, but we've had some jumping around. We've had McCarthy was plus 650. He's dropped to 4.25. So, he's a Super Bowl winner. That Dallas is certainly a tough place to coach, but maybe he'd have some better success here because he's had success certainly in other spots, Green Bay being one of them. And then there's some that have gone the other way. Arthur Smith was 7-1. He's now 12-1. And so what this is based on, this is not played out in the field. This is something that we have to do research on what we think the team's thinking, what their needs are, and anything out there we can read, which helps us adjust those odds, either going up or going down or wherever they may go. So it's difficult for the team. It's something where we've got to stay on it constantly because it's not like we got a 2 or 3 hour
Yeah,
window where the game's being played.
yeah,
We've got a
yeah.
24-hour window where anything could happen.
Yeah, it could be a midnight news dump. You never know. To some of the factors off of what you just said, right, is, you know, Matt Nagy, he's from the Chiefs where Chad Brinker's from, excuse me,
That's correct.
Borgonzi's from. And then the other thing is he has that coaching experience, like you said, and they just kind of missed with a guy that didn't have that coaching experience. Is that the stuff you're talking about factoring in?
Yeah, some guy. Here's the problem with some of these guys, and Arthur Smith. Let's take him for instance. He has success, as a coordinator, but he doesn't have success as a head coach. And so you have to look at the difference between the two. Kingsbury's another guy, who's great offensive mind. And he's moved up on the chart too. He's plus 750 right now. He was like plus nine. Um, you got to look at a guy that has the whole package. I mean, that's what you want. That's not where you always end up. But I think that's first and foremost in, the person who's doing the interviewing. Sometimes you don't get the man you want, and you have to, and sometimes it's maybe the money and other factors. Maybe the interview didn't go
Well, and
well,
there's other jobs out there
and
too that
there's so
it's
many
more
jobs.
it's more a college thing talking about the level and the tier of the job, but in the NFL this year there's so many out there that there are different tiers of job levels.
Definitely eight. I think there's 8 jobs right out there, and after the weekend there could be nine. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so a lot of jobs. A lot of these guys are, 9 guys are going to be happy, and some other guys are going to be back to coordinator jobs again.
Absolutely. I guess the funny part to some people is, you see some of those guys with the low odds like Bill Belichick, for example, in there. How does that part? How do you calculate those if you could share any part of that?
There's always a small
Yeah.
shot, and so we have those guys on the list because we don't know for sure. I mean, there have been curveballs thrown at us before in the
Mhm.
past. I think that, when you go back to Tennessee's coaching, Vrabel, who I really like, and obviously we can see that he could coach. They're looking for somebody like that, disciplinarian who comes in and can work with a quarterback, and a guy like that is missed. Um, maybe they pulled the plug on him a little bit too
Yeah,
soon,
yeah,
but you're looking for somebody like that, and you know, I don't know these coaches personally. We all know the same as we've seen what
yeah.
they've done as a head coach, as offensive coordinator. And so all have our opinions on all of them. But, there's one guy who's going to make the final decision, and we just keep our ears and eyes open, really open, and see
Yeah, yeah.
who's getting eliminated, who's out of contention,
And
and
those notifications on, right? Because right now, guy, for everyone watching, we're talking about this Friday morning, 9:08 a.m. So if something happens at 9:10, we're gonna react live. But I want to talk a little bit, moving on to sort of maybe it's your elephant in the room, maybe it's not, but that college football playoff game last night was very back and forth in the fourth quarter, and Miami was the team ranked not as good as Ole Miss, the 10 versus 6 matchup, but they were the favorites and they did come out with the win. How'd you view that going in and how'd it play out if you have any of that insight?
if in Miami had the better defense in the
Hmm.
game, right? And
Yes,
so
as
you
we
thought,
saw. Yeah.
and you would think they would have stopped this team, but Ole Miss came up with some really big plays, and Miami had some blunders. On the in-game wagering, Miami was favored the entire game until the very end.
Hmm.
They had to go down the field and score to win that football game, and there were some touchy moments in that drive. Their third downs and where they had to convert and close plays, couple of ref flags, and so they got some help too along the way. Um, it was one of those games where Miami dominated the game as far as I was concerned, but
Hmm.
could have lost the game, and that happens in
Yeah.
football. I mean, three picks fall out of their hands. Was it three? I think it was three, at least three.
It could have
Uh,
been three or four. Yeah.
yeah, and so Miami moves on now. Now, are they healthy? It looked like there was a couple of guys, that certainly took a couple of hits and a few
Hmm.
injuries there. They got a lot of time to heal, but it was a big win for them, and it was a good draw for them too because they were going up against a team that wasn't known for stopping teams. And I thought the Ole Miss defense played pretty well, to be honest with you. They played better than my expectations. But Miami comes away with the win, and like in a game that could have went either way.
All right. So do you know who the favorite would be at this point, no matter who wins tonight? Would it be one of those Big Ten teams over Miami, or
Yeah.
is that not it would be?
Yeah, yeah, it will be.
Hmm.
Indiana probably be around 6 against
Hmm.
Miami, somewhere in that area, whereas the Oregon team will probably be around, 2.
Hmm.
So that's a good calculation of it,
Hmm.
of this point anyway.
And so last time I was checking, I used the favorite tonight. Again, we're talking about this Friday morning, but you know, the last four of five rematches, I think, were all. This is a rematch, of course. IU beat Oregon earlier in the year. How much do you weigh that part in? Because you know, history shows Oregon has a good chance.
Yeah, you're right. The rematch, and they're hungry to meet this team again and
Hmm.
avenge that loss. But hey, Indiana's really good
Yeah,
football team. I mean, they are good on both sides of the football. They got a smart quarterback back there. So that game was a long time ago.
yeah.
Indiana's got better since that game. I think Oregon's gotten somewhat better since that game, but the point spread kind of reflects that the public liked Oregon early. This game opened up 4. We're at 3.5, but now we're starting to see some Indiana money on this game. These games are really bet heavily. So yeah, the rematch, when you look at it from consumers' point of view, you say yes. Oregon was close the last game. I think they lost that game by 10 though, and it was fairly close early, but you still got to beat the number one team in college football who had doesn't have a blemish on their record.
No, no. I mean, the number one team of football, maybe like the last couple of years, just this squad is just so good. If you compare it to, you can't compare them because of the way they're dominating. Um, anything else you think we missed on college, or can we talk a little NFL playoffs?
The one thing on the total in this game,
Yep.
the bettors are betting this game over. 47.5 was the opener up to 48.5. So they think there'll be some points in this game. And why not? Because Indiana
Yeah.
seems to throw up, 30 points in every single game, and Oregon's capable of doing the same. What I think, the way I've seen Indiana games go, the games are kind of close early, and maybe
Hmm.
Oregon can hang around, but Indiana has a way of just kind of pulling away there at some point during the game. We'll see if that's the case tonight.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course, we got six more games throughout the weekend for NFL playoffs. Who's the Super Bowl favorite right now?
Your Super Bowl favorite are sitting on the sidelines.
Yeah.
That's Seattle. I mean, that's a luxury to be the number one seed because you don't have to play and you have a guaranteed game in the second round. And that's a big deal. And it's a home game. So the Rams are the second choice. And that's very unusual to have two teams out of the same conference,
Hmm.
out of the same division,
Yeah.
be 1-2. But the Rams are the biggest favorite this weekend at Carolina. 10.5 point favorite on the road. That's one of the biggest. I think it may be the biggest favorite we've ever had for a road team. Not a biggest favorite for the playoffs because I know there were a game maybe a few years back was about 13. I think the Bills were 13 or something. But
There was a couple Brady, Tim Tebow games that
yeah, yeah,
weren't too close.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's big numbers there, 10.5. We're seeing Carolina money line money, because it's such a big
Yeah.
price. So
Yeah.
people are taking a shot there, thinking the dog maybe, throws in a big upset here. Other games for the weekend are real tight. Bears, Packers. That game's been flipping back and forth between the
Hmm.
Bears 1.5, Packers 1.5. The public's not really sure who the favorite should be in that game. And then Bills at the Jaguars, we opened 1.5. We're still there. That game has the least amount of money bet on it right now, but that won't be the case by the time we get to that kickoff on Sunday morning. And then the 49ers Eagles. The Eagles have moved all the way up to 5.5 from 3.5.
Hmm.
That's a pretty good move. I didn't see that one coming. And then the Chargers at the Patriots on that Sunday night matchup. 3.5 Patriots. They're still holding at 3.5. And then we got a Monday night game where
Oh,
Houston goes into Steelers, and
yeah.
you know we're taking Houston money, and everybody's talking Houston here, but it's a tough place to play. I mean, in
Hmm.
Pittsburgh, it's cold. Texans are a dome team coming into Pittsburgh,
Yep.
but if their pass rush is what it has been a lot during the year, they're certainly going to give Rodgers fits.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe just because Mahomes isn't in the playoffs, I think the last time we talked, the word Chiefs three-peat was mentioned. That's obviously not going to happen right here, or maybe a couple times ago, whenever that was, right? But they're not making it back to the Super Bowl this year. That's the obvious part. Are you seeing things wide open on your end too?
We're seeing, yeah, we really are. There's a couple of teams that we have some pretty good hazards on to win it all. That being the Patriots and the Bears. Those two teams are pretty popular every year, and they've been bet all season long. So they were much higher odds. The Patriots are up in the 60-1 area. The Bears are, in a similar number. And so we've taken money on two teams that have played well all year long. So the Chiefs are out of it. And I think that's kind of a welcome sight for a
Yeah,
lot of football fans because you got tired of seeing the Chiefs in the not only the playoffs, but the big game every single year. So we're certainly going to have a different mix this year.
absolutely. Hey, Johnny, thanks so much.
You're welcome, Johnny. Have a good day.
You too. Have a great one.